The city had never seen a blackout like this before. The power had gone out, and it wasn't coming back anytime soon. People were left stumbling around in the darkness, trying to make their way home or to someplace safe. It was chaos. As the hours went by, people began to notice something strange. They heard whispers in the darkness, felt cold breath on the back of their necks, and saw shadowy figures lurking just out of sight. At first, they thought it was just their imaginations playing tricks on them, but soon they realized that something sinister was at work. Among the chaos was a woman named Sarah. She had been out for a walk when the blackout occurred and was now lost in the darkness. She stumbled down a deserted alley, trying to find her way back to her apartment. As she turned a corner, she saw something move in the shadows. At first, she thought it was a person, but as it stepped into the light, she realized that it was something far more terrifying. It was a figure made of darkness, with glowing red eyes and razor-sharp teeth. It reached out towards her with a bony hand, and Sarah realized that it was going to kill her. She ran as fast as she could, but the creature was too fast. It pursued her through the alleyways, always just a step behind her. As Sarah ran, she noticed that the city around her was changing. The buildings were becoming twisted and distorted, the streets were turning into mazes, and the sky above was turning blood red. She realized that the blackout had unleashed some kind of dark force, and that she was trapped in its grip. Finally, Sarah reached a dead end. She turned around to face her pursuer, knowing that she was about to die. But then, something strange happened. The creature seemed to hesitate, as if it were confused. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it vanished into the darkness. Sarah was left alone in the darkness, wondering what had just happened. As she stood there, she noticed that the power was flickering back on. The lights in the city were starting to come back to life, and the darkness was receding. In the end, Sarah never knew what had caused the blackout or what had attacked her. But she knew that she had survived something truly terrifying, and that she would never forget the feeling of being hunted by a force beyond her understanding. Detective James had seen his fair share of cases, but none of them had left him feeling as helpless as this one. It was the case of the missing children in the small town of Millfield, where 4 children had vanished without a trace over the course of 2 weeks. The first child to go missing was 8-year-old Samantha. Her parents reported her missing when they found her bed empty in the morning. The police searched the entire town, but there was no sign of her. A week later, 7-year-old Timmy went missing from his backyard while his parents were inside the house. 2 days later, 12-year-old Emily vanished from her bedroom. The fourth and final child to go missing was 10-year-old Billy, who disappeared from his school playground. Detective James was determined to solve the case and bring the missing children home, but every lead he followed led to a dead end. As he dug deeper into the case, he discovered a disturbing pattern. All the missing children had reported seeing a strange man in a black coat before they vanished. The man had been seen near their homes, their schools, and the park where they used to play. But every time the police went looking for the man, he seemed to vanish into thin air. It was as if he had never been there in the first place. Detective James felt like he was chasing a ghost, and he didn't know what to do next. Then, one day, he received a letter in the mail. It was addressed to him and had no return address. The letter read, "Dear Detective James, I know you've been trying to find me, but I'm always one step ahead. I'm the one who took the children, and I'm not going to give them back. You can try to catch me if you want, but you won't succeed. I'm always watching you." Sincerely, the Watcher. Detective James felt a chill run down his spine as he read the letter. He knew that he was dealing with a dangerous individual who had no qualms about hurting innocent children. But he refused to give up. He worked tirelessly, gathering every piece of evidence he could find. Finally, he found a clue that led him to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. When he arrived, he saw the man in the black coat standing in the doorway, holding a small girl in his arms. "Let her go," Detective James said, drawing his gun. The man in the black coat chuckled. "You're too late, Detective. I've already won." With that, he vanished into thin air, taking the girl with him. Detective James was left standing alone in the empty warehouse, feeling defeated and hopeless. Days turned into weeks, and the case of the missing children went cold. But Detective James refused to give up. He knew that there had to be a way to catch the man in the black coat and bring the missing children home. Then, one night, he received a phone call. It was from the parents of one of the missing children. They had found their daughter sitting on their doorstep, safe and unharmed.